Most contractors look at a compact wheel loader like this and assume the top of the dump truck is out of reach. That's not the case for the John Deere 326P, a telescopic compact wheel loader. John Deere calls this the TeleLift. These clear heights of up to 14 feet and will reach forward upwards of 19 feet horizontally. I'm Lee with Brooks Tractor, and I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about this John Deere 326P TeleLift. So the 326P is a 73 horsepower machine that sits under 7 feet wide. It's got a telescopic boom to give it that extra lift. Here's the problem it's built for. If you're running tight operations, you already know the bind. The machine that fits under a feedlot alley or 2 rows of pallets can't reach anything worth reaching. Deere's answer here are 2 things working together. We have a steering system that turns tighter and holds steadier than anything else this size, and a boom arm that pushes your lift height to greater heights. Those are the 2 main components that make this piece of equipment stand out. Now it's time to go front to back on the whole machine. Let's get started with the cab. Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about is the cloth suspension seat. So this thing is very adjustable for operators of all sizes. We have 4 different levers for adjustability. One in the back here to adjust the back of the seat like this. And we got 2 for adjusting to move forward and backward. So this will move this section of the seat. And then there's one in the middle center right here. This will move more of the seat, which will also move you up more. And then the last lever is this bottom lever down here. So this will move you up and down on the seat. And what I like to do to come down is just put your heel on it, and it'll slowly deflate and lower you down. And another thing about adjustability is the steering wheel. So we have this pedal down here. You just simply press it down with your toes. It'll move the steering wheel like this. Shift to whatever height you want it to. And then we have this second lever on the right side over here, and you pop it up, it'll bring the steering wheel up like this. And you pop it down, it'll tilt the steering wheel like this. Alright, now let's talk about the joystick. So John Deere made a very nice ergonomic joystick. So we have this button down here on my ring and middle finger. This is the forward, neutral, and reverse button. So right now it's on neutral, and you just simply press it up for forward, center for neutral, and back for reverse. Very standard for a lot of John Deere machines. And then you have your thumb joystick. This will extend the boom and retract the boom. And you have your 2 auxiliaries right here. So if you push the joystick down, it'll bring the boom down with it. Bring the boom up if you lift it up. And then if you turn the joystick to the left, it'll curl in the bucket. And if you turn the joystick to the right, it'll open up the bucket. So now let's talk about the pedals. So we have our left and right pedals. So the left pedal is for braking, and the right pedal is for accelerating. But the neat thing about the right pedal is that when you let off pressure, the machine will come to a slowdown and it will fully stop. But if there's enough momentum, it'll still slowly roll. Alright, so now let's talk about the windshield. So we have floor-to-ceiling windshield for excellent visibility, and we even have a ceiling windshield for the 326P because of that 14 feet dump height, 16 feet max reach. This allows you to really see the bucket when you're dumping. With other loaders, you don't really need a ceiling windshield because they don't lift up that high. And along with the ceiling windshield, we have a sun visor to cover that up. And we have this amazing sun visor for the front windshield as well. Alright, so with that being said, I want to talk about this right side windshield. So this thing can pop right open, just pushing that lever. You swing it all the way open, and it locks right in place. So this allows for more airflow. You know, it just feels good sometimes to have airflow. And of course, it also allows you to communicate with anybody else to the right side. You know, if you got a gate opener or your project manager's on the right side, it's just easier access. And by pulling this lever, you can simply close it back up. And another thing I love about it is it has this bar. You can just pull it right up, lock it in place, and now it's just cracked open. You don't have it fully exposed, but you get a little bit of breeze All right, so let's talk about the buttons. So John Deere put a sticker chart here to show what all the buttons mean. We have our parking brake, exhaust filter, confirm button, and ride control. We have quick coupler. We'll go over how this works in a bit. And then working hydraulics, float position, return to dig, return to carry, boom height kick out, rim pull, creep and throttle, and we have our boom work light right here. And on top here we have another set of buttons for the compact wheel loader. This is our overload bypass, because this system has an overload sensor on it because it lifts so far out. It allows you to not overlift and tilt your machine over. And we have our travel gear range, roof and rear wiper and washer. And we have our defrost. This thing activates for 15 minutes and it turns off. Of course, we have our hazard lights, front work lights, rear work lights, and our drive lights. All right, so let's talk about the display. So this display by John Deere is cutting edge technology, 9-inch touchscreen, adjustable display, details all the machine vitals and all the data, and system status and warnings and positioning specifics. Has electro-hydraulic controls, includes customizable return to dig, boom height kickout, and return to carry settings to optimize loading and stacking functions for greater productivity. All right, now that we talked about the interior, let's take a look at the exterior. So let's start out front here with the bucket. So we have a 1 cubic yard bucket attached currently, and the coupler is a Euro quick coupler. So it has 2 pins on the left and the right side. So this pin you hook on to this hook here, and then the other pin can retract in and out, and you just simply press the coupling button and it'll retract in, and once you release the button it'll extract back out. And this machine comes with 2 hydraulic fittings, so you can attach on grapplers, augers, whatever your season calls for. All right, now let's talk about the telescopic boom. So this thing's really amazing. It has a maximum horizontal reach of 19 feet 11 inches, so just about 20 feet. That's with the 1 cubic yard bucket, and a maximum height of 16 feet 3 inches, maximum dump height of 14 feet 1 inch. And that's all with 1 cubic yard bucket. And with this coupler, you can put on a 1 cubic yard bucket, 1.4, 2.1, or 2.6 cubic yard bucket. All right, so let's talk about the articulation. So the articulation on the 326P is really awesome. It can turn 30 degrees from center left and 30 degrees from center right. And along with that, it has a torsion bar that is attached to the rear tires as well. So as the front tires are turning left and right, the rear tires will also turn left and right, just like this, as you can see here. It's about 10 degrees turn on the rear wheel tires, while it's 30 degrees turn on the front tires. Now let's open up the hood and take a look at the engine. So with the 326P, we have a 3.3 liter 4-cylinder diesel engine, and we have our hydraulic tank right over here to the left, and our wiper fluid, coolant fluid, and right underneath here we have our battery. So the battery is protected under this flexible rubber mat. Also has which gives it easy access. We also have a disconnect key. So with the battery, you can simply turn this thing off, and for extra security, you can take this key off with you. Just pop this thing off, pull it out, and just put it in your pocket. Take it home with you. Gives you extra security for the machine. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about for under the hood is the intercooler. So as you can see, it's wide open for easy access for cleaning, because these things do get real dusty. Now moving on to the right side of the TeleLift, we have the cabin air filter right here at eye level for easy access to replace whenever you need to do that. And we also have the diesel tank access here, and it even has a lock pad on it for extra security. And the last thing for the exterior I want to talk about is the articulation lock pin right here. So you just pull this pin off and then pull out the bar. And this bar is pretty heavy. So you can slide it right into this first hole, or turn it whichever way you need to turn it until that bar fully falls into place, and you should be good to go. So that's the John Deere 326P. On paper, it's a compact, but in the field, it does work. Compacts normally don't get invited in. Again, telescopic arm is the headline here. With 14 feet of dump reach, that means you can load over the side of a tall trailer, stack a third row when you used to stop at 2. You can set pallets deeper in the rack without repositioning the whole entire machine. Then there's how it moves. Remember, now this thing gives you 30 degrees of articulation left and right, plus another 10 degrees of rear wheel steer, thanks to Articulation Plus, John Deere's technology. That's a radius around 13.5 feet and a machine that stays planted through the turn with a full bucket. So if you're still walking away with questions, drop them in the comments. Reach out to your local Brooks Tractor CCE specialist. If you like heavy equipment, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more walkarounds.